Hey guys, Magic Mike here. If you're looking to shed those extra quarantine pounds and get stronger, or you're an athlete looking to get a slight edge on your competition, we have the gym for you. Introducing Slight Edge Fitness and Performance, conveniently located in Braintree, Mass. Slight Edge is offering individual, small group, and sports performance training in a private gym setting. The Steele Nazz boys are going to be in there very soon doing a combine. That's going to be interesting. The Slight Edge trainers will be sure to get your heart rate up, increase strength, and help you reach your fitness goals with a customized program. You can find them on Instagram using the handle @SlightEdgeFit. Give them a follow, or visit their website, slightedgefit.com, and set up a free strategy session while you're there. Let it rip.
Welcome back again, Steele Nazz, our first ever. We're here on Thursday morning, afternoon. We're usually night guys, but we're back here, brought to you in part by Hedge Better from our headquarters in Braintree, Mass. Sponsored by Slight Edge Fitness and Performance. Tonight we have a special one. I think it's probably been it was my favorite interview ever, boys. Fall River's own, former professional, college, high school, you name it, basketball player, Chris Herren. I'm sure you've seen his documentary on ESPN, 30 for 30 Unguarded. From being this basketball guru to suffering from an addiction to drugs to really having a comeback and affecting so many people's lives for the better in the past here. What do you guys think of the interview, guys? I think it was terrific and really spoke a lot to his character and what he's been through. One of the craziest stories I've ever heard in my life.
It does not get much crazier than his story, man. And the way it's motivational speaking, opening up his own rehab centers, rehabilitation centers is just incredible.
I just watched Unguarded last night for the first time. Now talking to him on the phone. Yeah, big fan of this guy.
Oh yeah,
big 24 hours of
big Chris Herren guy.
Yeah, because that's 30 for 30.
Gave us some breaking news of his son who played at BC basketball, went over to San Diego basketball, and now he has something else. I'll give you a little promo for that. Just get ready to listen to that. Afterwards, after the Bruins dismantling of the Capitals in 5 games, they're moving on to face the New York Islanders in the second round of the NHL playoffs. We'll have our takes on that, along with the Celtics about to bow out to the Nets. We got our hot takes on Julio Jones. And, we got a great show for you tonight. Let's get to it. Here we go with Fall River native Chris Herren. We're now introduced by one of the best Massachusetts high school basketball players, Fall River, Massachusetts native. I'm sure everyone knows his story by now. Chris Herren, how are we doing this afternoon now?
I'm well. Thank you so much for having me on.
Anytime.
Absolutely, anytime.
So the last time, only time I saw you, I was a senior at Quincy High School in 2012. And you gave that phenomenal speech, and it's very inspiring. I'm an athlete myself. I played baseball in high school and college. And, that your story has really stuck with me, through and through. I just want to know, what have you been up to since then?
So, I'm still speaking. I do roughly 200 speaking engagements a year. Most of my speaking is outside of New England, so it's a lot of travel.
Yeah.
I do a lot of college football. Like right now, college football is kicking in. So, on the calendar, I have, say, Texas A&M, Alabama, Florida State, Florida, Tennessee, like all these, big college football programs that are getting back into summer. And in meetings, I'll fly down and spend some time with them. And since then, 2012, my foundation was just starting. Herren Project, has given $6 million plus in scholarships to people from this area to
that's awesome,
to seek treatment. And Herren Project has accomplished so much. I mean, we not only help the people who are struggling, but we help their families who are suffering, and we have an education component to it, as well as a very strong family support component. And Herren Wellness, I just, in 2018, I bought Herren Wellness. I opened in Seekonk, Massachusetts. We have 2 properties. Yeah, we have 2 properties here. We have it's a long-term residential. We have 24 guests that live here, plus another 12 right down the street. And in 2020, I opened Herren Wellness in Warrenton, Virginia, which is 45 minutes outside of DC.
Oh, that's great. So you're trying to make it more nationally. And I mean, I see it with you, going around to these college programs and talking all over the country, but now you're trying to, provide this wellness to, not just around in our neck of the woods, but more of, branching out.
Yeah, nationally.
Yeah. I memean, Warrenton's a great location. I mean, the property is, it's probably about 17,000 square feet. It's, it's a beautiful home set on 68 acres of land. So it's an ideal location to heal. It's a beautiful spot to kind of unplug and reset and get focused into recovery. So, it was carefully planned and executed, and that's something I'm very proud of, to open up that second location. And now I'm looking in locations in the Philadelphia area.
That's terrific.
Oh, yes,
that's
correct.
awesome.
Good luck. Yeah, keep that going. Definitely.
I wanted to spin it back to, way back in the day. And, we got our Unguarded on the past couple of days, just rewatching and kind of doing our homework for this interview. But, growing up in Fall River, the way you explain Fall River kind of hits home for all of us, because I feel like Fall River and Quincy, Mass, in terms of, everyone kind of knowing everyone. It's a bigger, town, city, everyone having each other's back, blue collar type of thing. Just how was it growing up like that? And, playing at a public high school where, it's mostly preps nowadays. We had Joe Murray on, who's a North Shore guy, explaining your battle loss with Scooney Penn at Salem High School. Just run it back of, reliving the glory days at Durfee High School.
So, I mean, Durfee High School was the only show in town for a long time, right? We're talking pre-internet. So, like, and really, the access to cable and watching, with these kids are spoiled, they can turn on the TV and watch any NBA game now. So, it was either the Celtics to me or Durfee basketball, and Durfee basketball back then trumped the Celtics. I mean, wow. To be a kid and walk into a gym and watch your older brother play in front of 4,000 people. Wow. It's the stage was unbelievably big. And I tell people all the time, I mean, when I was in high school and my brother was in high school, I mean, Durfee basketball, there were season ticket holders. I mean,
that's insane.
That's amazing.
How much was that running?
Yeah, you don't find season ticket holders anymore, in high school basketball. So, and when tickets would go on sale, they would have to sell, and there'd be lines on the campus of Durfee. Midday for a 7:00 game, and people would be waiting in line, leaving work to come wait in line so they can get their tickets. So it was big, and we had a lot of battles. I personally never crossed paths with Scooney on the high school level. We played together. Me and Scooney have been involved in some major wars. On the AAU circuit,
Yep.
BABC, Leo Papil, has roots in Quincy. We were a 3-time national champion. I remember walking into the gym with Scooney and, Randall Jackson and Mickey Curley and, beating Rasheed Wallace and Jerry Stackhouse. And
what a team.
Incredible.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I remember in layup lines, me and Ray Allen still talk about it. I mean, we played Ray Allen, and I just remember looking across and seeing this kid in his calves. And I'm saying to myself, this is going to be a war. It was Ray Allen and Danny Fortson. And then there were other nights you'd walk in and it'd be Stephon Marbury and Felipe Lopez and Adonal Foyle. And, so me, Scooney, and that crew back then, we went through it together and to play 70 plus games in the summertime and win national championships was pretty special.
What was AAU big during this time you're talking about? I mean, I know for our age it was big. I think it's fizzled out a little now, but this is all AAU you're talking running into these guys, right?
Yeah, so the difference between AAU today and AAU back then, sneaker companies weren't involved. So
yeah, the brand.
So now, like when we played, everybody came, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now Adidas teams won't play Nike. Under Armour teams won't play Nike or Adidas. So
really, wow.
the talent is kind of spread out, right? So you could have, 60 of the top 100 play on the Nike circuit, 20 on Under Armour, 30, 20 on Adidas, and they never cross paths. Back then, everybody came to the same pot. Everybody came to the same gym to go head to head. And so I think it was tougher back then, just because all the talent came to one place. But, now, I mean, I'm in the middle of it with my youngest. My youngest plays for a Nike team, and he's out. He's playing in New Jersey this weekend. So it's still pretty big. It's still, it's competitive. Basketball's, it's a game. I hate to say it, but it's kind of like a game of freaks now. You know what I mean? You got 7-footers that handle the ball.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And people draining threes from 40 feet out like it's nothing.
Yeah, you see Kevin Durant in the first 2 games of the Celtics series. And, it's that type of basketball that's really foretaken this sport. What I wanted to ask, too, was you talking about the AAU circuit of, Ray Allen playing all these guys, really building up, the guys in terms of your competition. When it came to, picking the college choice after Durfee High School, I know Kentucky and Duke were on your list. What made you... Was it just because Fall River was around BC, or was that just the pick from day one?
No, I think it wasn't the pick from day one, but I think, my roots were kind of set a little bit. I developed such a, a strong relationship with Jimmy O'Brien. My brother out of high school signed with BC. So Jimmy, spent a lot of time when I was in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade recruiting my brother. And, I got to know him, and I got to know his family. And I remember his wife passed, and I went to the funeral. I believe I was like in 7th or 8th grade. And I just had a really strong connection. And, after visiting, all the schools, it came down to BC, and I wanted it to work, right? I wanted the story to, and it's kind of crazy, right? I had 2 opportunities. So I had an opportunity to be that guy at BC, and I had an opportunity to be a local kid playing for the Celtics, and neither one of them worked. But the reality is, I wasn't well, and I didn't have the capacity to capitalize on those moments. And, BC, I look back on it, and as an adult, right, it's such an amazing education, and there's times I sit up and I think, maybe I should just fought through it. But, it wasn't in the cards, and moving out to Fresno, it was an unbelievable sacrifice, but it changed my basketball career.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch upon BC. So after that injury, do you just recall the first encounter you had with drugs in college? Do you remember? I just kind of want to go through that and, Yeah,
I mean, I was so fucked. I mean, listen, I just remember being a freshman at BC, and I remember spending most of my time in the mods. And, when people had backpacks on, I was playing wiffle ball in the mods and drinking beers, on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I was initially, the way it worked, so BC has a freshman campus, upper campus. My roommate was a guy by the name of Mike Pyworker. He was like 6'10" from Canada. He decorated his side of the room with like the crow, whatever.
Wow.
Bruce Lee's kid, whatever that is.
Yeah.
And I just went to Jimmy O'Brien. I'm like, listen, he's 6'10", he's a monster. He's decorating the room with crow. I'm not living in that room. So
get me out of here.
so, they moved me down to a single, right across from the brand new cafeteria. So I had my own room down on lower campus. But I spent most of my time in a corner room in Edmonds. You know, I lived with 7 seniors, and that was my dorm room. You know, so the start, you know, I had no chance, right? I was acting like, you know, I have my degree in hand and life, you know, college is finished and, you know, not just beginning. So the first encounter with cocaine, it was in that dorm room in Edmonds. It was my first introduction to it. I walked into the room and, you know, they were chopping up lines on the desk, and, you know, and then kind of the rest is a long history.
And so like through high school and like the first year of college here, like the addiction, I mean, you hadn't been introduced to cocaine to that moment, but addiction was always pretty like prominent even in the high school days. And I'm assuming you must have been the big man on campus during all this and like biggest name in your city, everything like that, partying a lot.
Yeah, so like high school for me was a lot of like psychedelics, you know, like I was taking mushrooms and mescaline and acid and, you know, occasionally painkillers if they were around, a lot of alcohol, a lot of marijuana. But yeah, I mean, the table was set walking into college.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't, at that time in my life, I wasn't built to walk away. You know, I wasn't built to walk away. I wasn't prepared to walk away. And when it was put on the table in front of me, you know, I jumped at it. And I hate to use the word, but, you know, that night I fell in love with it, you know, and it was something that, you know, allowed me to be transparent, honest, chatty, you know, to converse, to drink beers, smoke cigarettes. I mean, here I am. I just got done doing a photo shoot for Sports Illustrated, and I'm smoking a pack of Marlboros and doing, you know, a few 8 balls and drinking 20 beers, you know, and that's kind of what my freshman year at BC was kind of wrapped up in.
Yeah, and being in with the seniors right away too, so you're just right there. It's all there. This campus is open for you in a way.
Yeah, but see, the thing, like, cocaine wasn't big then. Like, I didn't find a lot of coke. You know, like, there weren't a lot of guys who I was crossing paths in parties at BC with, you know, that was busting out coke. You know, I think it's more prevalent now on college campuses than it was back then.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so it was kind of a secret. We had, like, our little crew that was doing it. And we had a couple of guys down in Southie and Charlestown that we were getting it from. You know, I just remember I was Copperfields. I think that was the name of it. There was a bar by Fenway that I spent a ton of time in. You know, and here, you know, like I'm 18 years old and I'm spending Thursday, Fridays, and Saturday nights, you know, in bars by Fenway. You know, like there's no freshman at BC that's really doing that. So yeah, it was a disaster. And, you know, obviously it became, very public and, you know, I woke up to Will McDonough, you know, exposing the truth and that, you know, I was leaving BC for, you know, failed drug tests and lack of, credits and going to class.
Article in the Boston Globe, right?
Yeah.
Chris,
yeah,
sorry, Chris, I kind of wanted to jump ahead a little bit to maybe, you know, present day and kind of ask you a question and kind of get your take on something. And it's kind of a 2-part question. First part being, you know, how prevalent in, you know, maybe, you know, you do or don't know this, but how prevalent in your opinion do you think substance abuse and addiction is in professional sports nowadays compared to what the public may see and may be aware of? And I guess the second part of that question is, you know, you're seeing a big movement now, especially in leagues like the NFL and NBA, to kind of push towards, you know, legalizing the use of marijuana as alternatives for, you know, painkillers and stuff like that. But, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, I kind of get the sense that, you know, from, you know, your documentaries and hearing you talk that, you know, you view marijuana as sort of a gateway drug. And again, correct me if I'm wrong on that. But so I kind of wanted to just get your thoughts on, I guess, the addiction and drug use in professional sports, and then this whole movement on switching towards, you know, marijuana as opposed to more heavy duty painkillers.
So how prevalent? I mean, I think it's very prevalent. I think I think, I guess the statistic is to look at how to retire professional athletes. What do their lives look like when they walk away from it, right? Because with a lot of money and a lot of resources and a lot of people around you, it can be somewhat manageable if it's not completely full blown like my addiction was, right? And so there's a lot of money on the table. So I'm assuming, especially contact sports, that painkillers are very prevalent, and there's a lot of wear and tear, and they got to show up. And football players, there's not much incentive to sit, right? Because their contracts aren't guaranteed. They're not going to get paid. So they're almost forced to perform, even when they're injured. So, I'm sure there's a lot of that behind the scenes. I see it often in college athletes, right? Most of my work, I do like the NFL Rookie Symposium. I did it for many, many years. And now they used to bring all the rookies to a little town in Ohio. And I did that for like 5 straight years. And now they kind of broke it off, fractured it into each team does their own symposium. But I work with a lot of college athletes who struggle with drugs and alcohol. And, for multiple reasons, whether it's, family, trauma, genetic, stress, pressure, anxiety, overwhelmed, life on a college campus. How do you manage, how do you balance, going out to parties when you're expected to perform at a very high level? So multiple reasons. So I see it a lot. I see it a lot in college, and I work with a lot of college athletes around it. To answer your question about marijuana, I think the industry has done an unbelievable job at marketing it. I think they kind of rolled it out softly with CBD and all the positive effects to it. I'm not educated or schooled or well-versed enough to really dive in and talk about the benefits, but I do think there are going to be children out there who wish their mom and dad didn't smoke weed, just like there's children out there that wish their mom and dad didn't drink alcohol. And it's going to seriously negatively affect some families. I mean, especially, I know for me, if I smoked weed every day, my kids would want a different dad. I just know that, they wouldn't want their dad, smoking blunts and ripping bong hits.
Sitting on the couch eating a bag of chips.
I just don't think they would want it. But the reality is, like, listen, I can't go out and have a beer. I'm just not wired that way. I'm not wired to sip a glass of wine. Like, I think of a bottle of wine and I think I'm gonna chug it, right? I'm not gonna sip it. I'm not gonna smell it. I'm not gonna enjoy it. I'm not gonna roll it around in my mouth. Like, I'm gonna guzzle it. And where my wife, who doesn't have this illness, who's not affected by substance use, she can have a half a beer and walk away. And there are people out there that can probably take 2 hits of a blunt or a joint and put it down and go about their day and function at a very high level. But it's a drug, and it's going to affect and impact people negatively and be harmful to their lives and to the people who love them. I also think it's not regulated well enough. Like, a lot of kids don't understand what they're doing and the potency of it. I think the oils are extremely frightening. I say this all the time when I speak. Here I am. I'm on the property in Massachusetts, and like I said in the intro, I have 24 people who are living here, and it's a wide range from alcoholics to cocaine to Adderall to Xanax to heroin to fentanyl to Percocets. But the scariest thing I see here as an owner and as a parent are the young adults who are suffering from a marijuana psychosis. It's extremely frightening to see, a 22, 24, 26-year-old who's been smoking weed pretty heavily for the last few years, and now, they're on the oils, and it's seriously impacted their brain.
It's interesting.
That's very interesting. Yeah. That's very sad to see. I just wanted to get on back here. So we're talking about the McDonough Boston Globe thing. So
Yeah.
you transferring to Fresno State, what was kind of like your mind like, and what you were like, oh, I have this like probably last chance here. What was that summer like going into Fresno State playing under Coach Tarkanian?
So it was easy, right? Because it was the first time in my life I didn't really feel like I had to perform at a high level. Here I am, like I'm 19. I am moving 3,000 miles away, and I have the whole summer to play hoop and work out, and then I have the whole season to sit and watch.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you connect the dots, right, that's the healthiest years I've had at Fresno State. I just did the Rex Chapman podcast the other day, and, Rex was saying, like, it's crazy seeing you play basketball your sophomore year to your senior year at Fresno State, because my body looks completely different. You can tell that I am not engaged and I'm pulling away from being that athlete performing, at a high level. I just wasn't into it.
You can just see even in the documentary itself, from like even just the way you looked from your sophomore and senior season.
Totally.
To your point, it looked like you're a lot healthier, coming right into it. I'm a big fan of that part when you play. I think your first game was maybe at UMass, and your brother came on saying, he taking that fan and called you a junkie or whatever, and you went off at 30 points. End of the night, everyone's rooting Herren.
Told him to shove it. God, love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, your brother's the man.
Yeah, that was incredible. I love that part. I think,
People don't, those moments hurt, right? Like, I don't care what anyone says, like, especially, when you have family and friends in attendance and, the whole crowd's yelling junkie, you bum, you scumbag, like, as much as you say it's fuel, and it is, but it does sting. Those moments stung. And, the good thing is that sophomore year, I was just a complete savage. I mean, I had John Welch who kind of brought me into his lab, and he made me. He left Fresno State, and he was in the NBA for 16 years, coaching with the Clippers, the Nuggets, and the Sacramento Kings. He's a workout guru, and I landed with him. He was 32. He was in phenomenal shape. He had just gotten sober, and he's like, you and I are going to get after this. And he transformed me, and he made me a killer. And, he taught me how to be a killer and what was necessary, the preparation and what I had to put into it in order to get what I wanted. And, that's, even just my statistics, right? Like my stats, I think I was like 17 a game sophomore year, junior, 15 a game, senior year, 12 a game.
Oh, so what declined?
Yeah, they all did. And the senior year I had multiple injuries, and I was playing with Rafer Alston. So I had to change my game up. If I wanted to get in the NBA, I had to be able to distribute the ball more. So I took that senior year as an opportunity not to score, because I'm a 6'2" white kid, and you don't see too many 6'2" white kids scoring in the NBA.
No, got to learn to pass.
You got to learn. Yeah, you got to learn to distribute and set people up.
Yep.
Now, there was another part of the documentary where we're kind of leaning towards your later years at Fresno State. And I'm not meaning to compare anything, but like I've played like a baseball game, like hungover and stuff. How was it like, being on like benders like that, and then you go into a game? I don't know. I think there was a nationally televised game or something at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I think there's a part where you were still up like early in the morning. Having that kind of feeling, and then just going off for like 30 points or something. How did you feel during all that?
Terrible, right? Like, I was on like the west side of Fresno, which is the hood. I'm on the west side of Fresno. The night started off like kind of near campus, right? Let's go out for a couple of beers. We'll have something to eat, and we'll get home and get ready for this game. And it just never happens that way. So everybody went home, and I kept going. And I just remember ending up on like the west side of Fresno, and I was with these girls, and they were older, and I was gone. I was whacked. I was gone. And the clock just kept ticking, right? And I'm like, fuck, like, I got to be on national TV in and out at 1 o'clock. And I'm looking at the clock. It's 2 a.m, 3 a.m, 4 a.m, 5. And then it got to a point where there was no return, right? Like if I go to sleep, I'm not waking up for the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember those girls driving me into Selland Arena, and I'm in the backseat of their car, and I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to pull this off right now.
That's
you know, so
Yeah. Like I'm just
Give it a whirl.
yeah. And, listen, I had no chance. I had no choice, but I just remember sitting in the backseat of that car and seeing all the TV trucks and all the fans coming in and people outside, and I'm driving like through the crowd to get to the tunnel, and I'm like, I can't believe I'm in this condition right now. So, you know, I obviously I played in that game, and fortunately, somehow, some way, and I say fortunate, but in hindsight, really unfortunate that I was able to mask it by a really good performance.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the performance too, because like, you know, I'm just thinking your whole thought process by the third quarter, like maybe you have a shock in the first quarter, we're like, all right, I'm back, and then third quarter, like you could be like going down, like downhill. I just don't.
The adrenaline, I'm sure, is pumping in that building.
Yeah.
I know you talked about Fresno, that stadium and everything was just insane. I saw you on that Fresno podcast with those guys a couple weeks ago that you did a couple months back too. Like, it seems like Fresno, you got a big place in your heart for Fresno State.
Huge. Fresno's who I identify as a basketball player.
Yeah.
You know, like that's my identity. That's where, you know, like I really, you know, it was my heart and soul, and they gave me theirs, right? So, you know, when you walk into Selland Arena in downtown Fresno, it wasn't on campus. You know, it would be similar to like playing at Providence and going to the Civic Center. You know, but every single night, you know, 11, 12,000 people came, no matter who we played. And, you know, the place was electric.
Probably like Durfee a little bit. It was
just lively,
a little bigger, obviously.
Yeah, it was lively. And those people bled it, right? Like that was their show. You know, there was no pro teams in Fresno. And Fresno always got like, oh, you live in Fresno? Like, that's kind of like Californians, when you say you're from Fresno or you live in Fresno, like, why you live in Fresno? And you know, and Fresno is just heart and soul. It's all heart and soul, and it's you know, it was just an amazing experience for me, and that's why, you know, to this day I identify.
And then kind of speeding up here, you know, towards the NBA draft, what was your feeling going into it? Like, I know you probably had in the back of your head that, you know, you had some wrongdoing in college and it probably damaged your draft stock. Did you think you were going to be like a first rounder? And then when it came on and you got selected by the Denver Nuggets, what was that feeling like? I know in the documentary you were with friends and family, but, you know, just to hear it, you know, from the horse's mouth, I'd like to, yeah.
It was wild. I was scared, right? I was afraid. I had so many people waiting for the moment in Fall River. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, there was a huge, you know, party going on, you know, that I wasn't at. I was home with my wife and I was with my son, and I was just sitting on the couch and praying that, you know, the pressure of, am I going to have to jump in a car in 2.5 hours and walk into that party and say, although I'm not drafted, I'm not done. You know, it's a very different narrative, right? And you know, fortunately, you know, the 33rd pick comes up, and I had such a good workout for the Nuggets, and I had such a good rapport with Dan Issel when I was there. You know, that he took a chance, and it was an amazing moment that, you know, in hindsight, I look at it and, you know, and I don't know how many kids are really present in the moment, like, you know, to really soak it in, because there was just so much other external things happening, right? Like I said, I'm worried about my family. I'm worried about the party. I'm worried about embarrassing myself. And, you know, what is this night going to really look like? And when it came, it was just an unbelievable relief. And I think in the documentary, it shows me, you know, I walk into that building and go up on stage and everybody is, you know, everybody's wild and clapping and yelling and smiling, and I cry.
Yeah. That was a cool
that looked
moment.
like one hell of a party. Yeah, they were amped up
Yeah.
for you. That was awesome.
That was just like another, like if someone went like professional in Quincy, that's the way I feel like I would see it too. I see a lot of similarities between the Fall River people and the Quincy people.
Have you been to Quincy before, Chris?
Oh gosh, yeah, of course. Right. Listen, on my repo yard, when I was repossessing cars, when I first got sober, the repossession yards in Quincy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I was in Quincy every night, bringing cars back multiple times a night. I would drive it right back. We'd get the car in Brockton, New Bedford, Fall River, wherever, Taunton. I'd repossess the car, get the keys, drive it back to Quincy, put it in the yard, lock the gates, and go back out.
Yep. You know, have you been to any restaurants you can shout out here, or is that just not a thing?
So I don't know the name of it, right? But there's an unbelievable sub shop. Sandwiches. It's like pizza / it's a deli, and it's kind of close to where the repossession.
Pizza Connection.
What's it called?
Pizza Connection.
It's Pizza Connection.
Oh wow!
Is it really?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, they're gonna appreciate that.
Live right down the
Best
street.
buffalo chicken
Love
calzones in the
Love
game.
it.
I'm on keto though, so I can't eat it.
Is there like a little breakfast joint right across the street from it?
Yeah.
It's like, and the parking's tough. It's like a little triangle right in front of it, right? It's like there's no parking.
Oh, I think we're
it's
talking about
Copeland.
Copeland's
I think it's
pizza.
Copeland pizza.
Copeland's
we're
pizza?
going. I think it's
Oh
Copeland.
yeah.
Shout out
Okay.
Copeland pizza.
Copeland,
also
then.
good food.
Yeah,
there.
because it's like Honeydew across the street or something.
Yeah,
I know.
Donut King.
Donut King in
Donut King.
Copeland. Okay. There we go.
That is a hell of a parking lot.
Well, where does Copeland's rank?
Copeland's probably in the top 10.
It's solid. It's good. It's
Really?
good. No, it's very good. It's good.
It's good.
We'll go do a taste test after
we'll
we
do
get
a
out of here
taste
for
test.
lunch.
Good stuff. Back on it. So being drafted, the professional lifestyle. I know you mentioned in the documentary about, how the guys on the Denver Nuggets really took you under your wing. Who was, the big role model that really, spoke a lot to you and really made you feel at home?
Gosh, I was probably closest to George McLeod. That's who I really spent a lot of time with. Antonio McDyess, was such
big man. Yep.
Was such an unbelievable soul. And it was a special team because if you look at that team, right, like Bryant Stith, Popeye Jones, Nick Van Exel, George McLeod, Antonio McDyess, Roy Rogers, Chauncey Billups.
A lot of veterans.
Ray LaFrentz. A lot of guys are still in the NBA coaching.
Yep.
So that's how they were kind of built at that time in their life. They were transitioning and kind of setting up the next chapter of their life. So I was unbelievably fortunate to land with a group of guys like that. And, to get traded to the Celtics, I just remember getting traded to the Celtics and, if the Celtics drafted me, Fall River would have shut down, right?
Legit.
Sure.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been there in the morning. Yeah.
Right. But when I got traded to the Celtics, I just remember walking out of that office and being like, fuck.
Oh, shit. Back to the motherland.
Good. Yeah, this isn't good.
Yeah, because I think you talk about how when you get to Denver, they all took you under their wing. They would take you out to dinner and stuff, made sure that
Keeping an eye
everything
on
was kept in check.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. They, and like I said, all good souls. I remember Popeye Jones taking me shopping. He's like, listen, we got to get you a couple of suits. So he takes me shopping, and Chauncey Billups brought me to his house, and we're kind of like the same build. And he's like, here, I have these for you, because at the end of the day, I'm a second-round draft pick. My first year, I'm making $320,000 a year. They're taking $130, $140 of that in taxes. I'm giving some of it to my agent, right? And now and I'm not, listen, there's a lot of people in way worse situations. I'm not
Understood,
I don't want to come off sounding like that. But it's a big difference when you're in Ritz-Carlton's and living an NBA lifestyle and, you're making 300 as opposed to 10 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rookies, second round draft picks. It's like, you're not even, it's like you can't live that lifestyle, and I was fortunate to have guys, veterans who knew that, they were like, we're going to buy dinner and we're going to get you set up and we're going to help you. And I was unbelievably fortunate to have veterans that took that responsibility on with me.
At the point of Denver, and then when you go to the Celtics, like basketball wise, skill wise, and like all that, do you think you were at the top of your game, or were you heading down from leaving college?
I was pretty good at Denver. And then oxys get thrown into the mix and things start to change drastically, right? It's really hard to stay engaged in anything in life, never mind, like basketball, family. I mean, everything, it just takes you away. So I was good. Like I had great summer leagues going into Denver. I had a great summer league this summer with Denver out in Utah. And, then I get traded. I come back to the Celtics and oxys kind of enter that world again, like the painkillers, and it's just all downhill.
Yeah, that's why I want to ask too. Another thing on the documentary, playing for the Boston Celtics under Rick Pitino, the drug dealer game at the Garden, I think you were going to start, and then you were, I think, what was it? While they were about to announce the starting lineups, you were outside waiting for your dealer for oxys, and you couldn't play. If you can just run that back to me, and
the people in the opiate world, they're like, big deal. Like, of course you were, right? Like, that's like, to people who aren't in that world, they're like, oh my God. Yeah. But the reality is I was outside multiple games. I was running late to games. I missed the flight, out to, I forget where we were going, Portland. There's so many incidents where, oxys got in the way of, it trumped all, right? Like, if I don't have them, I can't play. So if my guy's driving up from Fall River and he has them, and I'm in the locker room and I'm in early withdrawal, I'm kind of sweaty, clammy, not feeling good, energy's depleted. And the only thing that's going to fix that is getting high. And, he's like pulling into the players lot and I'm like, I'm out there. I'll be out there in, 5 minutes. And, to leave the locker room in my warm-ups, I run out there, 10 minutes before they announce the lineups. To me, it was just like another day. In hindsight, looking back, what a fucking sad, tragic, story. That here's this kid, like a local guy, and he can't even like enjoy the moment. So, if I step out of it and look at somebody else, put somebody else in that position, I'm just so sad for them. But like I said, there were practices I was showing up right before practice. And, you can't do that in the NBA. I'm a second round draft pick. I'm a backup point guard. I'm sometimes on the injured list. So, those guys, they're supposed to be there an hour and a half early. Yeah. And they're supposed to be leaving an hour and a half after. I was showing up to practice 10 minutes before and running out of the locker room as soon as Pitino blew the whistle.
Yeah, as quick as you can.
Yeah.
On like the waiting for the dealer outside, like I feel like in today's world, with like, surveillance cameras, do you think you would have, like, if that were to happen today, you were an NBA player, you think you would have like just got away with that again?
I could care less about cameras.
Yeah.
Not on the mind. Not on the mind.
Yeah, cameras wouldn't have mattered.
Okay.
I was going out there regardless. But the way, back when I was playing, right, the way it was set up, the players' parking lot was right on, like there was a fence that had green mesh that kind of camouflaged the players' lot. And, you would pull in right in front of right in front of TD. And there was a huge parking lot just set up for staff, for coaches, for players, and some media. So anybody coming off that exit, if I told the security guy, hey, my buddy's going to be parking here, he's coming in, he'd pull in and I'd meet him right there. It was an easy access point. And it would be tough for people to really see me do it back then.
Definitely. So that was the last year of your NBA career. What made you, do the jump to overseas? I see you played in Italy, Poland, Turkey, China, Germany, Iran. Just tell me that kind of transition into overseas and when you kind of saw even, you're looking at it now of when it went even more downhill.
I knew it was really over. So I was playing with the Dallas Mavericks, and like I don't even know if I put this in the book, but like I'm and Dallas Mavericks, some of the staff would remember this. Like, you watch the show First 48, and there's this Dallas neighborhood, and that's featured sometimes. And I'm in training camp for summer league for the Dallas Mavericks, and I'm in the hood of Dallas. I'm the only white guy. I'm smoking, I'm drinking, I'm doing coke, I'm searching for heroin. And like they had to come to my hotel room multiple times to be like, what are you doing? Are you coming? Are you coming to practice? Like, you got to get your shit together. And I just remember kind of pulling it together to finish out the camp. And we were flying up to Boston to play in the NBA Summer League at UMass Boston. And it was probably, you play like 6 or 7 games, and I probably made it 4. And I was hooping. Like I was having a really good summer league. And I don't remember if it was either running out of money or the guy who I dealt with ran out of dope. And I just remember waking up and saying to myself, I'm not playing. I'm done. My knee's hurting. I'm injured. And I walked away from the game. And I was on the cusp of signing a nice little, contract. Like my agent was talking like maybe 3 years for like $7 million. And I was on the cusp of a nice little contract, and I just couldn't do it. I couldn't finish it. And I told the Dallas staff that my knee was shot and I couldn't perform. I couldn't play anymore. And I'm walking away. And I packed my stuff up in the hotel in Boston, and I went back home with my wife. From that is when the charades of going overseas, I went to Italy. I couldn't manage there. I was sick. I was dope sick. And, I found heroin in Italy on the streets, but it wasn't sustainable. So I walked away from, I think my contract in Italy was like $500,000 in cash. I walked away from that, and then it was out to Turkey, and, every country I went to, Italy, Turkey, China, Iran, I found heroin everywhere. I found drugs everywhere. It would take me, 2 to 3 weeks, and I would find the right spot and I'd adjust. And so, doing heroin and cocaine in all those countries, most of the time, my time spent there was short. I finished out Turkey season. I finished out a couple of China seasons. I was sent home from Italy. I was sent home from Iran. I was sent home from Poland.
And then you probably just got sick of it, your knee, and then being dope sick. When did you officially call it quits to your basketball career?
Shit, I don't know. I think I was like 27. 28. Yeah, I was just done. Like my mind. Listen, I had track marks on my arm. I was shooting dope. I was taking a chance at dying, 15 times a day, and it just got, it's relentless. It's lonely. It's relentless. It hurts. It's just a devastating existence. And, there was no more going to the gym, and there was no more faking it and trying to pretend that I was something other than, a really sick drug addict.
And I'll just speed up the events here. So June 2008, that was the when they found you overdosed. crashed into a utility pole. The guy saying you've been dead for 30 seconds. Just tell me anything you remember afterwards, and what was your feeling of like, I need to actually get help at like this point. I need to change, or my life's gonna be over.
I didn't want help. I wanted to kill myself. Like I wanted to end my life. I wanted to die. I wanted to commit suicide. I did not want to walk back in my house at 32 years old and look at my 9-year-old and my 7-year-old and my wife who was 8 months pregnant and say, I just got arrested and I'm just out of the hospital because I overdosed while driving. So June 4th, 2008, I just wanted to die. They brought me back to life. And when I came back, I hope they never did. I wanted them to let me go. Because I didn't want to face it. I thought my life and my addiction was so dark and so deep and so kind of rooted in my soul that there was no recovery. And, even if I recovered, what is my life going to be? So a lot of like self-pity and a lot of pain. And thankfully, they kept me, and I had a nurse who looked out for me. And then, a week later, the Mullen family, offered me another gift of extension to treatment, and I took it. I remember watching the Celtics playing the NBA championship in a detox in Fall River, where a bunch of people were like looking at me like, you could be playing in this game, or, what was it like playing with that guy? And, thankfully I transitioned to another center and went up to a place in New York. And, unfortunately I came home early because my wife was pregnant, and I relapsed the day my child was born. But I went back, and, that day I went back on August 1st, 2008, that was my beginning. And I've been sober since.
Congratulations for that.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's hell of an accomplishment. And the next thing I want to bring up, so the whole, we've kind of covered all the bases of the documentary itself, but Jonathan Hawk, everything like that. What was the first thing going into it when you were being told, or you were trying to do this documentary?
So I never had any intentions on doing a 30 for 30, right? Mm-hmm. It was Liz Mullen, Chris Mullen's wife, was like, they're doing this thing on ESPN now. I think your life would be a good 30 for 30. And I was like, nobody cares. Nobody wants my life on 30 for 30. And she brought me into Jonathan Hawk's office in New York City and said, this should be your next project. And he was like, well, I don't know if I really, I can't connect the dots. And while I was in the office, an ESPN executive, Connor Shell, he called John Hawk to talk about something completely different. And Jonathan Hawk said, well, can I give you a call back? I'm sitting in the office with Chris Herren. And Connor was like, you need to nail this down. I want to do a 30 for 30 with him. And that started the ball. Like, that started it moving. What people don't know is the 30 for 30 originally was going to be a little, about my addiction, talked about in another voice, right? Mm-hmm. And it was going to, touch on my addiction, touch on my recovery, but, where I was at today, teaching kids how to play hoop and spending, long days in a gym with young kids and teaching them the game of basketball. It was at the tail end of filming. When I got a couple of calls to go speak. And Jonathan Hawk was like, oh, you're going out to Venice Beach to speak to these basketball players. Can I come film it? And I said, sure. And he came, he filmed. And after filming like 2 other events, he said, I'm switching this. you're going to tell your own story, and I'm going to film you a few more times. So when that 30 for 30 was released, you know, I probably had 20 speaking events under my belt at the time.
20. Wow.
You're a professional.
So
You're a crazy good motivational speaker at this point.
No, yeah, but it was just so, but it was good because at that time it was so, you know, it's raw and I had no idea of the impact. I had no idea of the longevity and how many people it would touch. And, you know, back then heroin wasn't a buzzword, you know, it really wasn't. I mean, I remember overdosing in 2004 in Dunkin' Donuts drive-thru. And the headline in the Boston Herald the next day was "What a shame." And, you know, like, you know, when a newspaper is shaming someone from almost dying, you know, that wouldn't go over today. You couldn't put that headline in.
No, absolutely not. Yeah.
You couldn't talk about the disease of addiction in that way. So, you know, it's changed, and I think, you know, the documentary has, you know, it played a small part in that.
I just thought it was tremendously well done. You know, the originality and, like you said, the rawness of, you know, including yourself and your whole family in the whole thing, just to make it, you know, come out to be, you know, better than I think you first initially said that they were going to go. Yeah.
Yeah. Like those speeches are incredible.
Yeah. And no, but Jonathan Hawk changed my life. I mean, you know, and trust me, I don't, you know, I'm thankfully in a position where, you know, recovery has given me a perspective that, you know, I know what I've created here isn't just me. And, you know, if it wasn't for the first, you know, person who introduced me to Alcoholics Anonymous and picked me up and drove me to meetings when I didn't have a license, and if it wasn't for, you know, a retired high school principal who introduced me to a woman who is the headmaster at a Catholic school who handed me the keys to her building, you know, when I was a year sober to teach kids how to play basketball. Like, all of these moments in my life have brought me to where I'm at today. And Jonathan Hawk, you know, he changed not only my life, but my family's life. And, you know, I think he'll look back on his career and he'll look at Unguarded as something that, you know, had impacted so many people.
For sure.
Absolutely, yeah.
My last question here, what do you think the best thing has been from this whole comeback story? You know, whether it's, you know, a specific story about a certain someone who you know, made a huge difference about, or just the community in general?
Nah, so, I mean, the best thing is the first time that I looked into my children's eyes and I saw them smiling. And sobriety has this unbelievable power of making people's eyes smile. And when you bring addiction in that world into a child's life, they look at you differently. Their eyes have fear, you know, they're unsure. They don't know who to trust, where to go, where to turn. And that first moment that I looked into Christopher and Samantha's eyes, and I knew that my sobriety is inside of them. And that's really when I knew, like, I have something unbelievably special.
That's incredible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Last question, I guess.
I was going to follow that. Yeah, your recovery and your story, your recovery, everything is very inspiring. You know, I struggle a little bit with some addiction issues as well. So it's just an honor to talk to you. Final question for me is, what's your involvement still with basketball? Like, we know your son plays out in San Diego now. I'm sure your youngest might play basketball. Your daughter too.
Yeah, seeing when he, I think he was a non-scholarship guy at BC, and then seeing the video, I think him getting the scholarship, that was something very special too.
Do you coach at all, or are you just connected kind of through your kids at this point?
Yeah, just through my kids. My son, my son is, I tell him all the time, like, he's the toughest person I've ever met. And like, he doesn't present that way. He doesn't act that way. My son fractured his back his junior year of prep school and was in a full body cast from his groin up to his, shoulders. And he couldn't play AAU his junior year. The year that is the biggest year because you're getting recruited. So that window closed for him. And, he made a decision that he was gonna to leave prep school, leave Tabor Academy. He had enough credits and he wanted to go to college, and that he would go somewhere and walk on and see what happens. And, to walk on anywhere takes courage. And,
for sure.
and the way he performed and the way he earned that scholarship was unbelievably special. And it's funny because I always felt in Christopher's life, he was playing basketball because he had to. Like, I didn't see in his eyes, like, love. And last year at San Diego, he transferred, and, San Diego, I believe, played the least amount of games in Division I. He was quarantined 6 different times.
Such a battle this past year, with COVID going on.
Yeah. So to move 3,000 miles away, to go to San Diego, to have no kids on campus, no classroom activity, and to be locked in your apartment for 14 days, 6 different times, it wears on you. And he came to me and he said, "I'm done with basketball." And it was an amazing moment. He's like, "Dad, I just don't love it. I don't want to put my time towards it anymore." And, believe it or not, I knew that time was coming, and it came. And oddly enough, right, he always had this burning desire to play football. And I have such an amazing relationship with Saban. Christopher is now down playing football with Alabama.
Wow. That's incredible.
Wow.
Didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
Let's go.
That's a blessing.
So he's
Roll Tide.
he's down there. He's down there doing 7-on-7s and working out and loving it.
Hey, maybe Belichick will scoop him up in a couple of years. He's getting all the Alabama guys.
Listen, like I told my son, like very, very few people, and a lot of kids, they're too young to get this, but, not many people have the opportunity to have access to someone with that gift that he has.
Mm-hmm.
You're about to witness someone who will go down as the winningest, probably best coach in college history.
Absolutely, for sure.
And it's like interning for Warren Buffett.
Legit. Yeah.
You have an opportunity. You got a front row seat to witness something unbelievably special, and don't take that for granted. So I'm proud of him. He's a grinder. He's doing what he loves, and the game of basketball. Has molded me and shaped me. I believe it had a huge influence in my recovery because of, I believe recovery requires a lot of time, effort, monotony, dedication. And, I shot at a little orange rim quite a bit for a long time. And
for sure,
that discipline has now transitioned into the recovery world for me. So I'll always have a special place for it. I don't play it. I'm a tennis guy now.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Get around,
nice.
cardio.
Yeah. Tennis is my game. And all good. Listen, fellas, I really, really appreciate you guys having me on, man. It was great today.
Appreciate you coming on, Chris. This was great.
No doubt. Anytime.
Awesome stuff. Have a good rest of your day. And Memorial Day weekend is going to be nice.
Yeah, no doubt. Thank you.
Have a good one.
See ya.
All right.
And that was Chris Herren, Fall River native basketball player. Just an incredible story. Even hearing the stories you didn't hear during the documentaries. The surreal part for me, I was telling the guys, when I was asking about, his overdose, hitting the pipe or whatever, and he just said I wanted to kill myself. That's when I was just like, such a heavy story, and he's used to talking about it all the time, so I'm sure that was just another day for him. But that's something that catches you off guard. That's probably the thought process that's going on. But
time on a Thursday here and.
Yeah,
it was definitely heavy, but that's the story he's got to get out there to help other people struggling.
Inspiring stuff, man. I mean, there's someone else listening to him talk about that's going through shit like that, and he's motivating them and inspiring them to get well, and it's all you can ask for.
Couldn't be more of a class act. I mean, I think the interview was at 11 o'clock. He called at 11:02. Apologizes that he's late to the meeting, and then afterwards, I think you heard at the end of the interview, he was thanking us for having him on our show, and we couldn't be more honored to have Chris Herren on this show. That was
any time.
That was something incredible, and the breaking news of his kid going to play with Nick Saban in Alabama, that was special, man.
Yeah, did not see that coming.
Yeah. Right now,
good luck to him.
Yeah,
right. Pick the U, but
right now, I'm gonna give a big shout out to Karan Jorgensen. Hit a grand slam for the Irish Pub softball team, first home run of the season, and a big W the other night.
This is gonna go straight to his ego. People were already saying he wasn't gonna shut up about this. Now we got him calling in special guest, and
yeah, we gotta we're gonna take a quick call. We're gonna be doing this a lot now, having Quincy people involved. His caller Karan from Quincy here. How we doing today, Karan? Congratulations on the grand slam, right?
What's up, Beast?
Oh, absolutely. I appreciate that. How you guys doing today?
Good.
Fantastic.
We thought we were going to run with you. We were going to do weekly, get a caller from the local round. So, your boy Luka Doncic, who you've been talking up a lot, up 2-0 on Kawhi Leonard and the LA Clippers. I want to give you the mic real quick.
Oh, no. Honestly, I feel like you kind of put them on notice in the bubble. Kind of let everyone know what he was about. Kind of got bullied a little bit. But he didn't really have a couple players on his team that are huge in that entire team, like Jalen Brunson, Dwight Powell. They're both out with injuries. But I don't know. It just seems like Luka's out there. He's having a good time. And he's one of my favorite players because of it. It's not all about him, even though the stat sheet might make it seem like it is. The last game he played, he took a 3 from probably about 27 feet off 1 foot going
from Wallace in school. Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally.
Dirk Nowitzki style.
No, literally, and that's another huge aspect of it as well. Like Dirk's in the stands and he's going nuts. He loves the European players. Kristaps is out there as well.
Dirk in the stands is shit you got to know before the game from like a gambling standpoint. Like they were absolutely going to win. There wasn't a chance.
Of course.
The fact that they didn't even steal home court though, they just stole it all, and now they're going home up 2-0.
They're going up 2-0. Like Kawhi's playing well. Don't get me wrong, but there is just no answer for Luka right now. He's playing like a man possessed. Honestly,
you sound like a man possessed because you've been talking about this for years now, and it's finally coming into fruition.
Let's talk about another man possessed, Karan Jorgensen on the softball field.
Hey, I just go out there. I play my best for the people I love, and when you're surrounded by a bunch of good kids, local kids playing for a great establishment like the Irish Pub.
The greatest.
Tom Cooper isn't that good of a kid.
Yeah, fuck that. Fuck that.
Gotta find a way to give him one to the show.
Karan, will you be on the bar all weekend? Do you want to do a little Irish Pub promo?
Hey, I'll plug them real quick. I'm there at the Irish Pub tonight. Come on down. But no, I will not be there all weekend. I will be there Sunday night though.
Okay.
I will be there Sunday night. We're gonna close off Memorial Day weekend the right way. I like to call it the Irish Club when I'm behind the bar because everything goes.
Love that. Who's on the mound with this grand slam? Who do we got?
Rando.
Just a random.
Yeah, not Will.
Absolute rando. We were playing local 4.
103.
Will Smith plays second base, and then
the lads.
He usually pitches, but I think he was afraid, honestly.
You hate to see cowardice like that on the softball field.
There's no room for it. There's honestly no room for it.
Get out there.
Karan, thanks for joining us, man.
No, hey, I
have a great Memorial Day weekend.
Guys doing great work. Have a great Memorial Day weekend.
We'll see you tonight.
Appreciate it. We'll see you tonight.
See you later.
Thanks, Karan. We're now going to hop on to the Bruins talk as, breaking news, the New York Islanders last night, so we're recording on Thursday. Wednesday night, they defeated the Pittsburgh Penguins in 6 games at the score of 4-3. Was it 4-3? No, 5-3.
5-3. Empty netter.
Empty netter. Okay.
Was that a home game for the Islanders last night? I think it was.
Yeah, game 6.
Yes. Yes, it was. The Coliseum. Actually, it's not the Coliseum anymore, I don't think, but it was rocking.
Yeah.
So a little bit on their piece here is they didn't. They started off with Varlamov, who's a veteran goaltender,
Vezina candidate this year.
And I think he got hurt, and they've been playing with this guy Sorokin, this Russian guy, 25. Ilya Sorokin. Where, if you're a hockey fan, you know very well that a hot goaltender can defeat any team, no matter the obstacles. So that's the red flag I see in this series for the Boston Bruins. But you get in home ice, you get a 3 seed versus a 4 seed, and you really think about it too, how this is the best division in hockey. There's none of you to question. And then the first round, you see, two of the top 10 players, probably top 10 players to ever play the game, and Alexander Ovechkin and Sidney Crosby, both their teams out in the first round.
Beautiful sight. Beautiful. Not so much for Ovi, for Crosby. Beautiful sight.
Yeah,
feed me all the tears of that fucking guy.
Going into it, we had the waiting game of who do we want to play, the Penguins or the Islanders, and I just feed me the Islanders because I'd rather play the gritty team more than I know everyone hypes the gritty team and I'll be scared of them, everything like that. No, I don't want to play Sidney Crosby. I don't want to play Evgeny Malkin. I don't have to, especially if we got to go to there for game 1, game 2. Now you got a 3 seed and us and the 4 seed and the Islanders. Well, you get the first 2 games at home. You're pretty well rested. I don't think they've came out with the schedule yet. I'm sure the schedule will come out by the time this podcast comes out.
Yeah, most likely.
I'm thinking it's a Saturday night start off. I definitely want to get to a game with a full capacity. But I'm just going to get my analysis right now. I think despite even though the Islanders trade deadline acquisitions in the Zajac and then you had Paul Mary, even I think Clutterbuck's been on the team all year.
Yeah.
But Nelson had a couple goals last night too. The team is pretty stacked in terms of depth. I like the Islanders, but I'm going to favor the Bruins. They're the best top 2 lines in hockey when you get acquisition like Taylor Hall. And, he's been put on a clinic in the first round here against the Capitals. And you know what? Everyone looks at the Capitals and be like, oh, there wasn't their year. You know what? That team was very good. I know they had a little bit
little beat up, but
yeah, I know Holtby wasn't there in like he has been in past years, and they had a difficult goaltending assignment here this year, but I think the Bruins beat a predominantly good team in 5 games. I think that was extremely impressive.
Absolutely, and I think it's going to continue. The Bruins, the Islanders had their number early in the year. The first 5 games they played, the Bruins went no wins, 3 losses, 2 OT losses. Then the trade deadline happened. We got Taylor Hall, and then we beat the Islanders 3 times in a row. So I'm feeling pretty good. I think it's a great matchup now. The goalie, gotta worry about a fucking hot rookie goalie. Already been there. Mm-hmm. We've seen that road.
Played exceptionally well last night. He let up 3 goals, but he also had 34 saves. And in those closeout games, that the goalie's so important. Even the Bruins series, they made the best out of their opportunities offensively, the Bruins, but I think Rask had 30 plus saves, while on the other hand, incredible. It was only 15, 20 shots the Bruins had. But, that's what you have to do in, closing out series. You have to have good goaltending, and, you have to have people who can bail you out, like Tuukka Rask. I know the Tuukka Rask haters are just clawing for another couple bad games from him, but he's playing terrific. I see it still going. I see them going the distance here. I'm going to make my prediction right now. I think I said Bruins in 6 over the Capitals, and I obviously just missed by 1 game. But I think when it comes down to it, this Bruins team is, they only have a couple more years left with this crew in terms of Bergeron, Marchand, this whole band back together, and they finally get a good piece on the second line, and even Craig Smith with that huge. That was such a huge goal in Game 3. Imagine if we lose that Game 3. Where do you think that series is? You don't even know.
Yeah.
It was pure laziness by the goaltending, but, he capitalized on their mistake.
Tuukka's house would have been burned down if he did that.
Yeah. I agree with that. I am going to take the Bruins in 6 games, though. I think they will split at home in the first 2 games. out of, getting the feel. I know they've had a feel for each other all season, but the playoffs are a different animal. I think it'll go 1-1 back to the Islanders, and, I think it'll be back and forth. I think it'll be 2-2 going back home, and then they'll win the last two. That's the way I see it. I think the Bruins in 6. How about you, Steele?
I think we run it in 5. I think we run it right back in 5. The Islanders just played the Penguins, obviously. Great team up front. Jari, the Penguins goalie, might have literally had the worst playoff series of any goalie I've ever seen. That guy, and to play that bad, it still went 6. I'm feeling pretty good. I think we got it in 5.
What do you think?
Fans back in the building. Let's ride.
What do you got, Magic?
Swayman saves us in 7. I'll stick with it. I'll stick with that take until it works out.
You love the alliteration, huh?
It's just got to work out one of these times. I don't know enough about the fucking Capitals to give an honest assessment here. I'm looking forward to watching them, though. This is going to be a good
Islanders, yeah.
series.
They are called
Oh,
the
what did I
Islanders,
say?
so we'll start
What
there.
did I say?
You
Capitals.
said Capitals, but
All right,
Hey, I like it. They're on the mind, but they're in the rear view.
ballpark.
In the rear view.
We got to ask Justin. Justin's on the mic tonight too.
Yep.
as
What do we
well.
got?
Give us your take.
You know what? I'm gonna go Bruins in. I'm gonna go Bruins in 6. Bruins
There we
in
go.
6.
I like it.
Just
I
it's a
like
safe
it.
one.
Safe, yeah, nice safe pick. Yeah, let's do it. Bruins in 6.
Who do you think's the guy though? You saw Tom Wilson be the complete enemy as expected in the last. Do you think we are gonna see like an enemy who we're just gonna try to boo off stage?
It's not because he's like a fucking loser like Tom Wilson, but like Barzal is gonna be an issue. Like he's incredibly good. They're probably gonna bring
Barzal's a
up
beast.
that we drafted 2 bums and Jake DeBrusk ahead of him.
Yeah.
So like that's gonna be tough. That gets
Yeah.
brought up 100 times in the
Barzal's
series.
plus minus last night -2. So fuck him.
Progress. They are out of a captain too, Anders Lee. He got hurt for the season, so I don't know. I have no idea who like stepped up for them in that role, but I'm sure they have somebody. But
For sure, we're looking forward to more playoff hockey. When the Bruins. That's what I was thinking. We're so like fortunate. I think the last like 4 years they've at least gotten out of the first round. And when they don't make the playoffs or when they don't make it out of the first round, I remember the last time they lost was in like 5 to Ottawa. Like it kind of sucks.
yeah,
Not having more playoff hockey where you're actually rooting as your fanhood is not taken away from you at this point.
It's easier watching those like double overtime games though.
Yeah.
Just sitting back.
Oh no, I was watching the
That gets tough.
Wild versus Vegas game last night, and the Wild Force game 7. Even like it was like 3-0, I was just still locked in. I'm like, what's gonna happen? Because I remember, was that last year, or the year before, where I think San Jose was in the first round and they were down 4-1, and whoever they were playing, I think it was actually Vegas themselves.
It was,
took
yeah.
a 5-minute major, and they
Again.
scored 4.
Again.
They scored like 4 goals in like 3 minutes because they had the major, so the penalty just keeps going, and they won. They won in 7 because of that whole penalty.
That's horseshit.
It's absolute,
No,
and it was a bullshit penalty. I think
It was a trash penalty.
Anytime
too.
you
It was
lose a
tough.
game like that, like when the Bruins did that to the Maple Leaf, when you give up that many goals that quickly, that's
Yeah, it almost sounded like the Irish pub boss the other night.
that'll kill some certain fans. The
Yeah,
diehards.
oh, yeah.
That'll send you right to a grave.
Going from the ice to the gridiron here, we have a lot of spectacs, going off about Julio Jones to the New England Patriots. Now, Vegas ranks the Patriots at the top team to get him. If you don't know what I'm talking about, the Atlanta Falcons receiver, all pro receiver who's played their last 11 seasons, made a terrific catch in the 28-3 game that actually didn't even matter.
Yeah, decent at football.
Yes.
Fuck 'em.
For me, if this was possible, shout out to Mo Channel for being the source. Future Steele Nazz guest. This would perfect the Patriots. This would make the 2 questions I have for the Patriots. Obviously, number 1 is whoever plays quarterback, whether it's Cam Newton or Mac Jones, how are they going to deal with, Cam Newton didn't have a good year last year. Mac Jones, rookie, maybe stepping in. I see Cam Newton taking, but that's obviously the number 1 question is the quarterback play. Number 2 is, when you have the number 1 receiver, Edelman retiring as Nelson Aguilar, I don't feel too promising with that. And if you had Julio Jones as number 1 with all those guys as supporting cast, not to mention the double tight end set
Dual tight ends, yeah.
with Henry and Smith there, then I think it's a slam dunk. I don't know how you could like really go wrong with this offense, especially with the stack of defense you have. And I couldn't see, obviously the Chiefs are the favorites every year in the AFC, but I think they'd be a top team to beat in the AFC if they were able to get this deal done. And I know they're asking for a first-round pick, which sounds ridiculous because you're not going to get a guy, who's on a couple years left of his deal. I think he's getting paid $11 million a year. Mm-hmm. And I don't think Bill's going to fish out a first-round pick for you. But, how about a Kill Harry in like a third round? How about even a second round? How about a great washing machine from Bed Bath & Beyond?
Fucking Eddie, a couple chairs, give him some season tickets, something. Like, I don't know, man. I mean, whatever they can do to pull that off, if they can keep a first two, that's just an absolute
But him
steal.
going on the other day, that was messed up of Shannon Sharp on FS1. They're just calling him. I don't think he even realized he was on television. And
just like,
said,
I'm out of here.
Yeah, he just said, yo, I'm out of, like, Atlanta. And, it would be sad to see, like, this type of guy. I know they talk about these OBJ rumors of coming and, even different position here of Aaron Rodgers coming. But this Julio Jones stuff sounds like it might stick to me. And my boy Mo Channel, when he speaks, the world folds.
I think one thing that's like keeping me in check about it is how we were supposed to get Larry Fitz for like 11 years in a row.
Yeah, it just didn't happen.
And that just didn't happen.
They owe us.
Maybe he's trolling us.
Those were
Maybe
different
Julio's
days. Yeah, those were
trolling us.
different days. Now we're more, we've already spent a shit ton this year. Like, they're making moves that the Patriots don't normally make, so they might do it.
It seems like it's just continuing the kind of sticking it to Brady tour now that, like, he's gone and they're just beefing up the offense with just a ton of weapons, a great fucking O-line, just absolutely giving him everything he asked for and begged for like the last 10 years.
It's such a dirty breakup
It
relationship.
It is. It's like-
I hope, but my boy Brady's gonna bend him over. He wins this relationship. He's already winning. He's gonna keep winning.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be cool if he wins in the regular season, but at the end of the day, he doesn't care about that. He cares about winning another Lombardi.
Of course.
Are you guys gonna go to the regular season game?
I think it's gonna be on my couch.
Little out of my price range unless
Yeah,
Bitcoin
we'll see.
fucking
Yeah,
rises.
something. Yeah. If unforeseen
Speaking of which,
events
Brady's a Bitcoin guy. He's got the laser eyes in his profile picture. I don't know if you guys know what that
yeah,
means, but
yeah.
that means you're a Bitcoin guy. He's been tweeting about it. So another reason I love him, I guess. I don't fucking know.
then we all should be Bitcoin guys. Like, what Tom does,
What
you
Tom
should
does, you do. Buy the dip.
That's what he said. Buy the dip.
I should have went on the TB12 method instead of keto. God damn it.
100%.
Yeah, you
should've.
bugged.
Moving on. That was actually
Quality
my
stuff.
take of the week. I should have probably mentioned that of, Julio Jones coming to the Patriots. Obviously good, but I think it's a game changer.
Oh, yeah.
For if they were to make this acquisition.
Do you think even if he comes, I mean, the question still, even with whoever's the quarterback,
As long as he catches a pass in the air over 50 yards, so Brendan Myers has to give a ton of people money.
well, we're on the topic of Brendan Myers. Because the Water Club is going to be listening. They wanted us to give him a shout out. I'll give him a shout out. You 15-0 fucks.
Yeah,
I'll give him their minute of moment.
I'm not. I mean, you're all over the nuts, but we'll leave it at that.
Well, I'm gonna say it's a little ridiculous with what they're doing. They're doing the prototypical win. They're on this magical run. They think they're the best in the fucking world. It's gonna end badly, boys. You really gotta.
Irish Pub's a playoff team.
You want to
Get
mix
ready.
in a loss. Trust me. You're not gonna just win every softball game. You're not that fucking good. And quit rolling in with 14 guys to men's league softball. You looked like the White Walker Army last week, and it was, although intimidating, a little ridiculous.
Speaking of ridiculous, so the Boston Celtics are playing the Brooklyn Nets, just absolutely shattered in the first two games, led by the trio of Kevin Durant, James Harden, and yes, Kyrie Irving. But what I really have to talk about here, and it's not my take at all, I'm sick of this guy, talking about, I hope when I come to Boston that it's not going to be racial. And the fact that he tries overclouding that, yeah, maybe you could say that's a genius move.
Switching the narrative.
The narrative is you came in front of a bunch of Celtics fans and it said that you were going to re-sign with the team, and then you didn't, and then when you went to the Brooklyn Nets, and then you still haven't come back to Boston playing yet, and now you're up 2 games to none I think you're going to sweep the Celtics. The Celtics don't have anything if you shut down Jason Tatum. That, it's going to be in 4 like I predicted last week. I mean, it wasn't like a hard prediction at all. But my point is you left this team. You don't think they're going to berate you. They're going to berate the hell out of you. And if I was going to New Hampshire this weekend, I'd be all over that. You just
sideline.
Yeah, you're not. It's not worth paying to go see you play.
Were we going to throw drinks at him or something?
I wasn't going that
keep
far.
It clean. Keep it clean.
Yeah, because that's been happening. Russell Westbrook with the popcorn.
Yeah,
He should
that was
absolutely
ridiculous.
be able to punch that guy.
Yeah.
Like 100%, he should be able to just like lay that guy out.
Yeah.
Should Kyrie versus give me Kyrie versus Nazz in the next Rough and Rowdy.
Like Ron
please.
Artest had every right to
Please.
punch that guy.
You would, I bet you wouldn't realize how much taller he is than me until we're like 1-on-1. He's probably like still like 6'2". Like that's
Sure.
He's towering over me.
I think he's gonna fucking put on a. Are they playing tonight?
It's Friday night.
Tomorrow.
He's gonna put on a clinic.
He is. No, I'm not. I'm not saying he's not. I'm just saying that
You hate him.
No, but he actually thinks like, oh, I hope it's just basketball. It's not going to be just basketball. If that's a news flash, that's ridiculous. This guy, I hope, gets tormented. Obviously, I would never want anything racially or anything thrown at him. I think that's ridiculous.
What about the Trae Young? They were chanting in the Garden last night. Trae Young's balding. That's a good tournament.
No, that's a good one.
That's what we got to come up.
yeah.
We got to
Fair's
come up
fair.
with a good chant right now
I mean,
for Kyrie coming to the Garden.
Well,
tomorrow.
no, it's boo when it's the LeBron effect. Whenever he has the ball, you boo, and then there's gonna be plenty of "fuck you, Kyrie."
You suck, Kyrie.
What
you know,
about the
however it
Earth?
works, yeah.
It's gonna be "fuck
No,
you,
both of it,
Kyrie."
yeah.
What about the Earth is round? That might get in his head.
I don't know. I think
it might work.
That might
it might
work.
fly. It might fly.
no, and you really want the Celtics to at least win that Friday night game. You know, like everyone obviously is on your side. Is it gonna be a full house? I think Friday night.
I think it's Saturday that it goes into
Saturday?
effect. I think it's Saturday.
he lucked out. So
Well, he'll get him for
I'm not
game
sure of
4.
that. Yeah, that's still game 4.
But game
regardless.
4 could be like the one for the sweep, and like if
And
it
he
goes,
really buries you.
That's the thing. If it goes 3 out, they're definitely getting swept. Like I don't even know if Tatum will show up to the arena. But if it's 2-1, that game 4 is a blowout. It's either 4 and 5. You pick.
I missed game 2, and when I saw the box or just saw like on TV that Joe Harris had 25 points. Like if I figured Brooklyn scored like 250 points in the game. Like I was like they must have won by 1 trillion.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be good, from what I'm hearing.
Yeah, but with
he's
that team, he
I
shouldn't
know,
take like he just shouldn't have 25.
But we've been talking about it on this podcast for like months now. This Celtics team is full of just a bunch of losers.
They need Chris Herren. They need Fresno State Chris Herren to make a comeback. He would lead this team to victory.
No, but the fact the other night Evan Fournier is trying to start shit with like Kevin Durant, it's like you're getting your ass kicked.
Yeah, just fucking.
You're making yourself look so much worse. Yeah, like I know Evan Fournier tries to be a dog. You see him on social media. He actually is pretty funny.
Yeah.
But dude, take the beating. You're getting pushed around out there. It's not just you. It's everyone outside. I mean, Jason Tatum hasn't done really anything this series, and it's not to his like
No, got hurt.
lack of ability.
Quad team.
Yeah, not even hurt though. But when you only have like if Kemba's not on his game, obviously Jaylen Brown's out. Danny Ainge didn't do enough to add to this roster. If the whole game plan is to tee 3 of the best players in the NBA to limit this one guy to points, you're gonna win in 4 games. So I said it last week. It's gonna happen.
there's just no chance,
There's gonna be a complete remodel of this team, and if it's not, I'm telling you right now, Danny Ainge is on the hot seat.
Look out.
Danny Ainge is absolutely on the hot seat.
Seats on fire.
I don't blame Brad Stevens, although like he doesn't deal with too many of these stars who are like really egoistic. He just doesn't do that. That's not a part of his culture. But at the end of the day, oh nice, who got Emma's breakfast and lunch? Ordered a receipt. Anyway,
Shout out.
yeah, no, the Celtics are a wreck right now, and you know when Jabari Parker is like your 6th or 7th guy off the bench, 2021 Jabari Parker, that's when you got real problems.
Yeah, no, like that. Yeah, just a complete overhaul of most of that roster. Hopefully over the offseason. Just make it end.
There's no need to go. Yeah, blow it up. I don't know how many times I gotta say blow it up, but blow it.
I'm ready
the
for
fuck
this.
up.
I'm ready for this individual Celtics season.
Yeah. The last topic of discussion I had for today was Trevor Lawrence, Jaguars guy, commented saying it's a pleasure playing with new tight end Tim Tebow, how hard his work ethic is and how he's ready to play ball. And I am just so ready for the opportunity that Tim Tebow has. I feel like it's my opportunity.
until Gardner Minshew comes in, I might parentally block Jaguars games from like my
Yeah,
fucking.
I'm with you. I'm with you still. Like this team, I hate them right now.
Tim Tebow,
That's
dude,
Gardner
like,
Minshew's
shut
team. What the fuck?
fuck
What the hell is this fucking garbage? Trevor Lawrence should not be excited to play with new tight end Tim Tebow.
Nah, we need like a Baker Mayfield ACL tear, and then you just trade him to the Browns, and then I'm all in on the Browns if Gardner Minshew's the quarterback.
Browns super fan if Gardner Minshew goes to the fucking.
No, he needs to go to another team. We talk about him being a career backup. But
Do I return to Cleveland? No, I don't. To clarify.
anyone have anything else?
I do have a last minute Magic Mike minute that I did think I wanted to do. Well, I've been teeter-tottering. Should I be in Rough and Rowdy? Should I fight? I weighed myself in yesterday. I don't know what I weighed in that fucking Rough and Rowdy, my first one. I think I dropped a lot of weight to fight the operator. And
when it didn't even matter.
yeah, I didn't.
No one gave a fuck.
The weigh-in was an absolute joke. I could have worn cinder blocks in my pants, and I don't think they would have given a shit. I weighed in yesterday. I don't even. It's ugly. I got to get to Slight Edge Fitness and Performance very quickly.
Big shout out.
But I think what needs to happen, if Lights Out Lang is telling the truth and this thing's really going to be in Tampa and there's going to be fans, I need to be down there in the Seersucker. I might need a cameraman, Justin. We might have to roll the whole crew down there. I want Steele Nazz or Head Better, everything. We got to really be treating this event because I can handle the reporting of Rough and Rowdy. I know the characters. I know the scene.
He's meant for the moment.
I'm meant for this moment in my seersucker bucket hat combo. I'm not going to fight, but I'm going to report the fuck out of this next Rough and
I'm
Rowdy.
honestly down because I told one of the things I told Bob was like, I was like, look, I think it would be kind of cool to do like some hedge better behind the scenes stuff leading up to like the next fight,
Especially
like,
this
dropping
one.
some exclusives. Yeah, I think
we have to roll in heavy as long as fans are allowed.
Yeah,
Even if they're not, we should. As long as the rumors of Tampa fans, if all
Work
that's
it out,
true,
yeah.
book your tickets now, crew.
yeah.
Boys take fucking Tampa.
Boys
Let's
take
go.
Tampa. Boys take Tampa. Lights Out Lang and at Pac-Man Jones. It was a rumor, I think, last time we were talking, but it looks like it's pretty fucking.
It's pretty
official
real.
at this
It's
point.
pretty real.
It's pretty confirmed. He, real quick side note thing that I don't really like is that Pac-Man's making demands that Bobby drops down to his weight, even though Bobby's the champ. I mean,
Yeah, I agree.
That's some pussy shit. But anyway, that's Bob will still say.
And I can't.
Yeah,
once
he'll be
again, to
ready
talk
when the
about
time
my
comes.
weigh-in, the fact that I weigh more than Lights Out Lang, and I feel like I'm a pretty skinny, slender guy, but somehow I'm weighing more than him. So I got to fix this problem. I'll be at this next Rough and Rowdy, but I still will be looking to return to that ring someday. some way I'll be in there.
Hit
To
the
Justin's
TB12
point
method.
too, every time he's been on a handful of times now. That's like his biggest like issue is like he doesn't like cutting weight for like whoever he's fighting.
It sucks. Cutting weight sucks.
Because I think he walks around probably like 200 or something like that. And
Actually, surprising.
He's like 180,
Yeah, he
185,
walks
I
around
think.
like 185.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
so I'm wrong.
yeah. But
Do the math. I'm weighing more than that.
But you know what? Honestly, someone like him who's just so powerful and like strong, like if he drops like an extra 5 or 10 pounds, it's only just gonna make him quicker and lighter on his feet.
More agility.
And
It's more of just the pain in
Yeah.
the ass of it. Yeah, the
Yeah,
whole
you're
cutting
right.
weight thing on quick time notice for literally like the 3 pounds that this fucking jackass Pac-Man's begging for. Like
Yeah.
I don't know why he's begging for it. It is making him look like a bitch, 100%, which only helps Lights Out Lang's trash talking.
Also, speaking
Great
of,
promo by him, by the way.
Yeah.
A lot of f-bombs. Don't change that,
You know what?
Bobby.
Actually,
Don't change the f-bombs.
I wanted to do like a second video where it was him. It was the video. But we had like a f-bomb counter,
Oh,
like
he
a
needs-
ticker on like
yes.
the bottom
That
to
needs
count
to
how many
happen.
times it happened. It was just because he called. It was so funny because he called me, and so when this was all blowing up, he didn't have access to his phone, and everyone's texting me and going, dude, you got to get Bob in the studio. He's got to do a response video. He's got to say something. I'm like, all right, everybody, chill. I'm trying to get a hold of him. And then finally, Bob calls me, and Bob's frantic. He's like, I got to get in the studio. I got to do a response video. He's like, just on my phone. He's like, this guy called me out. I'm like,
Champ,
yeah, let's do it.
Champ is ready.
Champ's
Do it.
here.
Champ's
Champ is
ready.
here.
He's fired up. So.
He's fired up as a fighter and now a content guy. He loves getting in the mud lately.
He
I love
does.
to see it. I love
Speaking
to
of
see
the
it.
claim the champ hood, want to give a shout out to Mass native Rob Font for his big performance, unanimous decision over Cardi
Nazz is so
H.
thirsty.
Garbrandt. He's great, so thirsty.
Love it though. Yeah, he'll be on soon.
Yeah,
very soon.
folks, want to thank you for tuning in as well. Chris Herren, that was some pretty powerful stuff for coming on the podcast. We'll have a lot more for you in the next coming weeks. Everyone enjoy the Memorial Day weekend. Working on some merch, getting out to you, but until then, stay safe out there. That's all from Steele and Nazz, presented by Hedge Better. One love. Let's go.
We want the cup.